And I remember many a times going to interviews and telling them, do you want a male candidate or do you want a good candidate? You decide. If you want a good candidate, I'm here for you. If you want a male candidate, I'm sorry, I cannot change my sex. That used to be my stand.
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Thakkar Show. Today we have Miss Maharukh ma'am. She is Chief Scientist and Managing Partner at Amaterasu Lifesciences LLP. She has more than 35 years of experience in pharmaceutical industry. She has been all over India as guest speaker in pharmaceutical and pharmaceutical technological firms and speeches. A very warm welcome on the Thakkar Show, ma'am.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much. And thank you for the opportunity to talk to you and discuss the pharma industry in general. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, ma'am, how has your entrepreneurship journey been as Amaterasu Life Sciences is your second venture? So, how has the whole entrepreneurial journey been?
Yeah. So basically, I started my journey with my education. I studied pharmacy at Institute of Chemical Technology in Mumbai. And after my master's in pharmacy, I started working in the industry. I work with many big pharmas like Burroughs Wellcome and Sipagayki, Novartis. And I worked for around 15 years in the research, technology transfer, technology development, and all those fields which are very, very technical related to research and product development. And in 1999, I set up my first venture called Rubicon Research with two colleagues. And that is a pure service play research venture. That was a company which was giving research services in formulation research, meaning we were giving services to different countries and companies around the world. Typically, it was more of US and European companies, and we were developing pharmaceutical products for them for registration in US and Europe. So this was a very pure service sort of a company. And as you know, service company is in research terms what we call as, low risk, low return. So we were getting paid for the services. We had a fantastic team which we collated over the years, and we were delivering these technologies and products to all our clients around the world. And I developed this company with my colleagues for 14 years. We also set up a plant which was approved by FDA, MHRA. So apart from development, we also went into then doing scale up and manufacturing for the regulated markets for our clients. On the way, we also developed some technology products and technology IP to, build the valuation of the company and to give something unique to our clients. And we did all of that, by using our own resources. All three of us were actually first generation entrepreneurs. So we continued earning and building the company and putting it back into it. But of course, most important was building the team and building the credibility and building the quality systems around it. Because in 1999, when we started the company, people were not looking at India very favorably, especially in the pharmaceutical field. So we spent a lot of effort in ensuring that we were very transparent, open, and reliable partners to all our clients, and all the data that we gave was very reliable and scalable. We built quite a reputation. We were the first company in this space. Today, there are more than 300 companies in India working in this space. Wow. And sometime in 2014, I decided to quit that business or that company. I decided to part way with my partners, and I actually went on a sabbatical for 2.5 years. And that is the time when I went back to my institute and I was thinking, what should I do next? So while I was working on it, what really I understood two, three things very clearly after a lot of soul searching was that one is I want to do research. Second is I want to do meaningful research. I really want to do research with which we can solve some unmet needs of our consumers and patients and doctors or nurses who are our stakeholders. And that's when I started formulating the plan for my company, Amaterasu Life Sciences. So as compared to Rubicon, this second company of mine is a very high risk, high venture, high risk, high return sort of venture, where currently in the last 5 years, we've been investing a lot in various research projects and a lot of collaborations we have. So we have a collaboration with the Institute of Chemical Technology, where I have 2 or 3 PhD students who work with a professor on the products which we are developing, which are all specialized long-acting injectable dosage forms, and all these are very long gestation products. So we have come a long way in the last 3 to 4 years. We have filed our IP. We are into animal studies now. It will take us a few years to actually monetize or commercialize these products. Along with that, we are also working a lot in the topical space and developing some special anti-friction products which have a lot of uses in day-to-day life. And so this is what we do in Amaterasu. So we develop products, we monetize them, we license them. We have a lot of collaborations. We work with a lot of partners, and we try to build long-term relationships. That's what we do. We're also incubated at BioRiddle, which is a Somaya College incubator in Ghatkopar. And we have a small team, and we work with a lot of external partners. But of course, our team is very, very capable, and they coordinate all these multifarious activities which we undertake in our company, Amaterasu.
Wow, ma'am. Great. So, ma'am, as you said, you are into research, and your second venture is also into research. Like, especially in pharma field, when we hear it, either it is like deeply into research or either it is too entrepreneurial. How did you manage to uh, collab them together in this venture?
So basically, in the pharma industry, you have at one end the generics, which are actually making quality products, which are very similar to the innovator products, and as a replacement for the innovator products. At the other end, you have the very high-end pharma research companies who are into basic drug research, and they are looking at developing new drugs, new technologies. Biotechnology is the latest thing now. There are lots of companies, even in India, who are working on new biotech molecules for new applications. And biotechnology has opened up a lot of opportunities for finding solutions and therapy, even for a lot of other products where normal chemical entities cannot give solutions. So that's a very evolving field. Immunotherapy is one field, and of course, what we call as autologous cell therapy or CAR T therapy, which is individual persons. You take the cells and you develop the therapy with that, and then again inject it back into the person. So that's very personalized therapy. So that is the latest thing. So there are a lot of things happening in this pure research front. But what is in between is the drug delivery research, and that's where we come in. When we say drug delivery research, we are doing research on formulation technologies, and we are trying to develop solutions to unmet needs. Here, what we are doing many a times is we are taking old drugs and trying to reinvent them in new dosage forms with better therapy, better usage, maybe usage in different areas, usage with different regimens, and that's how we are giving a sort of a value add or a better utilization of the old approved drugs to the customers or patients. And that's where this is the middle path, which is the research space or the drug delivery research space in which we operate. And that's like it's more like a life cycle enhancement of existing old molecules which are well proven, but you are adding something to it to enhance the therapy or give some advantage to the patients or the nurses or the doctors. So that is the area in which we work. And that is something which I think in India is our speciality, because our scientists are very good in formulation technology. We are very good in manufacturing of APIs and formulation. And this is a value add what we are bringing when we bring some specific advantage to the therapy using a specific formulation or drug delivery technology. So that's the space in which we work in India.
Wow. So, ma'am, in this more than 35 years of experience, what all wisdom have you gained, which you would like to share to us, especially the young generation of India?
Yeah, I think when you are embarking on a career, my thought process when I was very young was very clear that I need to get into a field where I can keep on learning every day. And I continue that today. I like to learn, and I like to do different things and keep on learning something. You can never be 100% learned. There is always something which you can learn and teach yourself and improve, even personally or professionally in your field. So that's the first thing I think which I always try to follow, and that's why I always like to keep on getting into new research initiatives. I read a lot. I read quite a few hours in a week on new technology, specifically relating to area in which we are working and what is happening and what are the research articles. But it's very important to do that. Second thing is, whatever you do, there is no shortcut to hard work and perseverance. That's what I have learned, that you have to keep on continuing your work, keep on persevering, especially when you get into entrepreneurship, there is no looking back. And whatever routes you take, whatever you try, may not always be successful. It's okay, you learn by it. You realign again and you find a solution. And if you keep on after it, I don't think that there is any problem which doesn't have a solution. That's my belief. And that's what I think I have also seen in my career again and again, that when you continue working on the right path, you will always reach the goal which you want to go. And in scientific research, another thing which is very, very important is we need to always be sure that our basics or fundamental basic scientific principles which we follow in our research are always correct, and we need to keep on reaffirming and realigning and revalidating that. So you need to stick to the basic fundamentals and continue building on it. I think that is very important for success, because sometimes we do so many experiments and we get thrown away by some results here and there. And you have to, again, bring it back and question your results yourself and find out whether what you're doing is really the correct thing or not. And therefore, having some mature people in your team who will challenge and validate and cross-validate your thought processes is very, very important. And that's one of the reasons why in Amaterasu, we have set up a collaborative model. So I work very closely with a few professors at ICT, and we are always challenging each other. So that builds a sort of a challenge and a mechanism by which we can always get more conviction of our thoughts, processes, and strategy, which we are following for any research. And also sticking to the data, understanding what the data tells us, interpreting it. And again, that's very important, that it's a sort of a very, research requires a lot of rigor. There's a lot of scientific rigor. You don't reach anything straight. And you need to keep the goals in mind and continue doing that. So that's very important in entrepreneurship. But most important anywhere is your team and your colleagues. I think you need good colleagues and teams whom you respect and who respect you, and you can work with them together. Very important for me. The most important asset, even in my past company and this company, has always been my colleagues and my team members. And I really look up to them, because without them, you cannot do anything. Everything is teamwork.
Yeah.
So you need to build the right team, the right atmosphere. You need to have ability for people to question you, people to question each other, people to be able to debate, discuss, and arrive. Science is all about discussion and debate. But in order to do that, you need to have the right culture, and you need to have the right sort of environment around you where people feel free to express what they think. Because, I have always maintained this, and I've seen this also, that the best ideas can come even from the most junior people in the team. So when you have a discussion, have the full team with you in the discussion. And you don't know whose mind will work in what direction. So each and every mind is very unique, and they are part of our team, and we try to nurture them, and we try to sort of give them the environment so that they can think freely and contribute. So all these things are very important from the scientific entrepreneurship point of view. Apart from that, the normal things are all very well, which we all know, that, think properly, plan properly. When you build your business plan, do a lot of detailing. There is no limit to the amount of detailing that you can do, the amount of sensitivity analysis you can do. When we are into entrepreneurship, we need to understand how to handle funds, what to do with the funds which we need, how to get the funds, how to use them, how to control them. We need to be able to take care of that very, very carefully, because all things said and done, still, even today in India, funding for research has improved. It has improved greatly in the last 15 years, let me tell you that. But still, it's difficult to come by. It's difficult to come by because it's a very, very high risk or speculative sort of a business, Yeah. When I'm doing research, I cannot tell my investors that I will 100% reach the goal. The probability is high, but there is always a risk of failure. You do animal studies, you do human studies, then you go to regulatory, and then you go to marketing. At each stage, there is a risk of failure, which is quite high. So therefore, you need to be very careful how you use your funds, how you budget for them. When you're budgeting, you cannot cut corners, but at the same time, you cannot be very expansive and spend money where you don't need to spend. So you have to be very
mm,
pragmatic and very practical and learn how to manage them. That's very important. And as scientists, we have to learn this. I didn't know this in the first 15 years of my life, but I have learned it since 2000. I have learned how to do that. So you do it, and then you need to have the right type of people around you. You need to have your chartered accountant, your company secretary, and all these regulatory compliances are important. So you need people who will advise you on it, and you need to also understand them, because it's okay to take somebody's advice, but finally it's your company, liability is yours. So you need to understand those parts also. I cannot say that I am a scientist and I will not understand them. So
mm,
you need to understand, you need to have relationships with your bank, you need to have relationships with your investors, you need to build long-term relationship with your partners, your collaborators, your customers, your stockists, your distributors. I mean, it's very important to base everything on long-term sustainable relationships. So again, how do you build these relationships? You need to have build trust. You need to build transparency. You need to be very open and fair to each other. I think these are the things which are very critical. And then, I mean, you just need to keep at it. Keep at it. You may not reach there, but keep at it. Keep at it. Keep on trying different things and keep on advising. So also very important to have a team of advisors to advise you on the business aspect, on the scientific aspect, on the regulatory aspect, on the marketing aspect. So you need to have a team of advisors and well-wishers who will keep on advising you and guiding you at each stage. So it's all a big team and networking, which we need to continue doing every day. And you need to continue questioning yourself every day whether what you're doing is correct, not correct. Maybe is there a better way to do it? Things like that. And then entrepreneurship, there are days where you have self doubt, where you are
mm,
worried about your cash flow, where you are not sure whether you're on the right track, and these things will keep on happening. So you need to have the steel to be able to go through it and again rationalize and get onto the positive track. So there are always days when you don't know where your project is going. There are always days when you don't know whether your cash flow will sustain for the next 1 year. There are always days when you wonder whether whatever you're developing, will you be able to monetize it. So all these things are there. You need to be able to do that. And that's why, as they say, entrepreneurship is like an iceberg. So if you know iceberg, what floats on top is so much, what's
yeah,
below it is so much. That is what nobody sees. Everybody sees the successes. Nobody
mm,
sees the self-doubt, the trouble, the stress, the difficulty, and the sort of rework and hard work and perseverance which you put in. Everybody only sees the top of the iceberg, but you don't give up. You keep on doing the bottom work so that the iceberg is floating all the time and the top is visible.
yeah,
So this is what entrepreneurship is all about. And you need to be sure that you are ready for this. You need to be
mm,
sure that you're ready for the grind. You have the necessary support from your family and friends. And if you're very clear that that's what you want to do, do it. I mean, this is the right environment to do it. It's the right place to do it, and right time to do it today in India, I would say, with all the initiatives
true.
of Startup India. And even for research, you have DST and BIRAC, and you have a lot of funding options for pure research, or the type of research which we do. And you also have a lot of openness in the investor and VC circles to fund risky ventures, which was not the case when we set up our first. My first entrepreneurship journey. First 2 years were difficult to get funding. Let me tell you, it's very different. Today, it's very different, and it's very good environment. And if you have a good idea, you can build a good business plan. If you want to know what you want to do, why you want to do, and how you want to do it, and if you have a very detailed business plan, I'm sure you'll find the funding for it.
Sure, 100%, ma'am. And also, the point you said on the clarity of what exactly you need comes from the detailing which we have about the
Yes.
business while we go on pitching, because this is one of the major thing which almost all of my guests have been uh, telling through their experiences, is that majorly they see people who have passion for the idea they have, but they lack on the clarity of process, the clarity of outcome, and the detailing which the business requires, the basic fundamental business requires.
Yeah. No, my thought process has always been, not only now but even in my first venture, I'm very clear. If I have the conviction that if I have the money, I will put it into this business and I will get returns. That is the point when I go to investors and say, okay, give me business. So I have to do enough detailing and enough validation of the business case to get that sort of a conviction. And then when I go to investors, I will be able to convince them and I will also be able to give them returns. I'm very clear. I don't want to take money from anybody if I'm not having a very high probability of giving them the returns which they expect. I think it's ethical to think this way. And that's the way I think, and that's the way I believe. So it's very important. You cannot get that conviction without validation. For example, when we developed our product, our anti-friction product, there was no anti-friction, anti-chafing product in India at all. There was no, I mean, everybody is using powders and Vaseline and any moisturizing gel, but this is a real problem. Friction creates a lot of problem in the skin. And the first thing what we did is we went out and I did a market research on really, do people suffer from friction? Do they, what is the market assessment like? Really, is there a need of such a product? So I hired a market research company who went and talked to dermatologists and then talked to consumers and then came up with exactly what is the problem, what are people using, what are the problems with the existing solutions and what we can give as a solution. And we do this sort of a market validation for each and every product and technology before we even start the project or start building a budget for it, because this is very important. If you put money into a research project, you should be able to monetize it. I mean, we are not doing charity here, right? Every business has to get returns and has to make money sometime, if not immediately. Sometime it has to make money because the return on investment has to be there. That's a basic fundamental. So it's very important to build this thought process.
True, very true, ma'am. So, like, ma'am, you were talking about this friction, like you ventured into skincare and also Amaterasu has also been in working on disease like malaria and Alzheimer. So, how did you came into the skincare part?
Yeah, so that was the first technology which we took on at Amaterasu. Basically, if you understand what is friction, friction means when you rub, your skin rubs against the skin or it rubs against your clothing. And if it is repetitive, then what happens is that this area of the skin gets inflamed, it becomes red, it starts burning, it starts paining. And typically this is what is technically known as chafing, although many people in India don't understand that term. And this is something which each and every one of us suffer throughout sometime or in our life or other, and many a time we suffer it regularly. So I will give you an example. The people who suffer it the most, there are two categories who suffer it the most. One is all runners, cyclists, all these very active people who are into very active endurance sports. They will always have chafing. So for example, runners will have chafing on their inner thighs when the thighs are rubbing, because when they're running 10, 20, 30 kilometers, our skin is not made to withstand that sort of rubbing. The way our skin is built or our bodies are built, no skin can withstand that, and there is going to be friction. Friction generates heat, and in our humid sort of a weather, when we sweat, we are going to generate more and more and more chafing, and it becomes so difficult. People find it very difficult to walk afterwards. So typically they have it in their inner thighs, they have it in the groin area, there are nipple bleeds. Males, specifically runners, have a lot of nipple bleeds because the nipple is rubbing against the t-shirt, underarms. Women have a lot, apart from the groin and the thigh rash, they have tremendous chafing in the below the bra strap, under the bra rash area, back strap, hell of a lot of chafing, and it's very, very painful. It is burns, and actually the runners always tell us that when they go into a shower after a long run, their body is burning everywhere wherever they have shaved. And this is a real problem. Even cyclists have a problem, footballers, everybody has a problem. So this is one group of active people who are having this problem. There is another group which is women in our country. Many of them wear saris, and so their thighs are totally exposed to each other. They
Mm.
have chafing in the thighs, especially in the summers. And in south of India, it's a year-long problem because
Mm.
it's always hot and it's always humid. So you, when your skin gets rubbed, somewhere there is a tear, and then with the moisture and sweat, it gets macerated and it goes into a fungal infection. So
Mm.
most fungal infections start with chafing, and they have a lot of issues in the bra area, as I said. And main issue is in during the menstrual time, during the periods, the sanitary pads rub against the thighs, and it is very painful. From the third, fourth day onwards, there is a lot of chafing, lot of pain. So this is something which is a trivialized problem. We live with it and we just manage with what we have. So this was one problem. Another problem, which is a very major problem, is bed sores. Bed sores in people who are chair much. And second is whenever there is a movement, there is friction, rubbing
Mm.
and the friction. And this causes the bed sore. It causes a tear. First, it causes a reddening and then it causes a tear. And when old people and all, bed sores can be very, very fatal. Sometimes they need surgery. And because they have other, conditions, like they have nutritional deficiencies, or they have some comorbidities, because of which the
Mm.
skin is already very fragile, and they get bed sores. And bed sores are also reported to cause a lot of fatality in old people.
Oh.
So bed sores is one thing which is a very severe thing, and we have come up with this product called Sories, which is for prevention of bed sores, and this is working very, very well. So we do know that this product works very well. So this is again one such product which is there, and then we have another product which is for our feet, to prevent shoe blisters and shoe bites, which are again by rubbing of the skin of the feet versus the shoe, and
Mm.
that's when you get a blister. So that all these products can be prevented by using this anti-friction gel. It's a very unique patented technology that we have. So if I can just show you just a small demonstration. What is good about this is a patented silicone gel. It uses silicone. Now silicone, I know there's a big hoo-ha about silicone being not good for the skin and all, but that's not scientifically valid and true. Silicone is one of the safest ingredients which is available, and the type of anti-friction property which you get with friction with silicone, you cannot get with any wax or any oil or anything else. Now what happens is that this is a very special product and technology. It is patented. Our patent has been granted in India. Why is this not right? So you can see this. This is a silicone gel, very small amount,
Mm.
and I spread it. Now, the moment I spread it, it dries. It spreads very well. You need a very small amount. Now I have a very dry and slippery film, okay, over
Mm.
here. Now, this is actually a film. It has formed a protective barrier or a film over the skin. And now you will never get any friction. So we have tested it and we know that this cuts down friction by almost 80 to 85%. And
Wow.
therefore you will not get any rubbing or chafing. And this is totally very safe, hypoallergenic. It only contains some silicones and starch and things like that. So it's very, very safe. There are no color, fragrance, anything like that. So there's no allergen potential, and it's breathable. It's very comfortable. After some time, you will not even realize that it is there on the skin. And it protects the skin from all types of chafing, whether it is the runner's chafing, the woman problem, or the bedridden patients. It is very, very safe. Another thing is it sticks to the skin and it's going to last for more than 8 hours. It just doesn't get off. It just gets rubbed off, after 8 to 10 hours, or it'll go off next time you have a bath. So it's going to give you day long protection. And most important, especially in a country like India, is I'll show it to you. You can see I've poured some water on it, and the water is actually drying off. And I don't know if you're able to see it, but the water will not get inside. It's just dropping off. So it's water repellent. When we say it's water repellent, means what happens? That water does not get in, and sweat also does not get in. So once you apply this product, and even if you are running, if your patient is sleeping and sweating below, it is not going to reach inside, and it's not going to create any problem or increase the chafing. So that is very important. And even for bedridden patients, we have another product which is a diaper rash gel, adult diaper rash gel, What happens with patients who are wearing diapers all the time is that the skin, especially the sacral area and the groin area, is in contact with the urine and feces, which actually cause a shift in the pH of the skin and create all these rashes. What happens with this product is once you apply this, you have a barrier, and the urine and feces is not going to come into contact with the skin. So it is going to prevent, and it also treats, because along with silicone, what we have in many of our products are natural ingredients. So we have pure 100% essential oils, which are calibrated, and they are actually analyzed as per gas chromatography. We know exactly what are the constituents. So we have added these very well-known active ingredients, like we have calendula and we have lavender oil, patchouli oil, and all of these actually treat the rashes if they are there. So these are all products which prevent and treat all these friction-related conditions. And this is a very unique silicone-based gel technology which is patented. And there are, of course, many other applications also for this. So we have a lot of products in the pipeline which are under development. But each and every product we develop, we design the attributes that we want for the product to solve the problem. We talk to the dermatologist and we understand if this sort of a solution will really help the patient, first of all. And then we develop a lot of series of tests in vitro, which we test and we find out whether it's really doing what it's supposed to do. We also do dermatological testing, and we also do user testing to understand whether it is doing what it is supposed to do, whether it's giving relief, whether it's giving long-term relief, whether it is working in the summer. So these are all the things which we test through our user studies, and then only we put the product out. So there's a lot of rigor in the development which goes in. And this is a very unique technology, and the performance is really very, very unique. So we have many runners who have used it for the 24-hour stadium run and told us that with one application, they have run continuously for 24 hours and then they've not had any chafing. And that just gives you an idea of how strong and flexible this very fine, it's a very micron-sized barrier, but it's very flexible and strong, so it doesn't get torn, it doesn't get rubbed off, and it gives you continued protection for many hours. Wow. So this is all about our skincare technology, is anti-friction technology. We call this as EPB, which is elastomer potentiated barrier technology. And these are the application in many other biomedical fields also, on which we are developing products.
Wow. So, ma'am, like I have this personal interest in knowing more detail about Alzheimer's, as it is now, as it is in the talk in content world as well. So, what Amaterasu has done for the Alzheimer disease, and like if you can spread a little more awareness about it.
Sure. So I'll tell you about two of our other injectable products which we work in collaboration with Institute of Chemical Technology. See, in Alzheimer's, there are two issues. One is that the patient really is not aware. Slowly they lose their memory and they lose a sense of time and everything. So, in order, you cannot really cure Alzheimer's as of today based on the therapy available today. What you do is you try to control the cognitive decline. And there are a couple of drugs which are useful for that. But what is important for these drugs is that you have to give a tablet once or twice a day. Okay. Now you have these very old patients or Alzheimer patients who don't remember to take on their own. So the caregiver has to give. But many a times they have dysphagia, means they cannot swallow. And they are also very non-cooperative many a time. So they will split out, they will not take the drug. And if the dose doesn't go in, then the cognitive decline goes very fast. So this is a big problem to give somebody who doesn't realize that he's supposed to swallow. They'll put it in the mouth but not swallow. These are all the problems with Alzheimer's. And so and therefore caregivers have a lot of issues apart from the other things, seeing that the medication goes in. And many a times if the medication doesn't go in regularly, then the cognitive decline becomes so fast that it becomes very difficult to manage the patient. What we are developing over here is we are developing a once a month injection. So you have a caregiver or a nurse who gives you the injection to the patient once in a month, and the patient's drug levels are maintained throughout the month. So you just have to give 12 injections in a year, and the drug levels are maintained. So all this, patient non-compliance and what we say fluctuations in the drug level in the blood, and all these are taken care of by this dosage form or the delivery. So that's what we are trying to develop for Alzheimer's. So we have one product, two, and there are three products. First one, we have already filed patents. We are into preclinical. We have had a pre-IND with the FDA. We've had a discussion. So they have sort of told us that we are on the right track, sort of a thing, our thought process. Now we file an IND with them and then we look for partners to monetize them. So this is the Alzheimer's product which we are working, the first one, second and third currently in research phase, still in the earlier research phase. And in malaria, so for Alzheimer's, have I answered your question?
Yeah.
Do you have any other question? For malaria, again, there is a non-compliance issue because you have a 6-dose, 3-day regimen, oral regimen, or you have 3 days of injection followed by 3 days of regimen. And there's a lot of resistance which is coming up in malaria. So the WHO mandates that for artemisinin related therapy, you should always have a combination therapy. Unfortunately, there is no injectable combination therapy available. What is available is oral only. So you give 3 days monotherapy and then you give 3 days oral therapy, 6 days therapy. Patient is weak, having fever, vomiting, not able to eat. And in the absence of food, when you give the oral therapy, you don't get enough absorption. That's a problem with those drugs. What we have done is we have developed a single dose therapy. So you give a single injection and that is able to treat or cure the disease. So we are working on this therapy and we have done animal studies. We know it is very efficacious in the animal model. Now we are doing the preclinical tox studies and then we'll go to the human studies. But we have done multiple animal studies and we know this works. So this is a single dose injection. Again, it's a drug delivery technology. It's a microemulsion based, what we call in pharmaceutical language as SMEDS, self-microemulsifying drug delivery systems. And what this does is that we are using the we are using a combination of the artemisinin combination therapy, and we are using them in very low dose, but we are still getting full treatment, no recrudescence, no relapse. And that's because we are having a bioenhancement, increased absorption and prolonged release because of this particular in situ gelling SMED system which we have developed. So this is again in an advanced stage of preclinical studies, and we hope that in the next 3 years we should be able to bring it to the market is our plan.
Wow.
So this is what we are doing.
So, first of all, very big all the best for all these products which.
Thank you. We need it. Yes. Yeah.
So, in this journey of more than 35 years, what problems have you faced? Not only limited in terms of the entrepreneurial journey or the pharmaceutical journey, but problem overall, which you think that could help youth in general.
Yeah, so I think a lot of problems. I come from a very low middle income family, and I am very lucky to be in the Parsi Zoroastrian community. My full education, right from school to graduation, post-graduation, was totally funded by our charities. So I was very lucky in that I got a lot of support and help, and my parents always pushed us to get good education. And I got into one of the premier institutes. So that was really the first challenge, to get the right type of education. And after all this, when I went out into the industry to get a job, I mean, please remember it was 1985. And when I used to go for job interviews as a young 20-year-old, I was many a times told that, but you will get married and sit at home. We will not take girls. That is the first thing, many places. And many places, they would say, oh, we will not take you in production. You can do research or quality work. That's all that you can do. I mean, you cannot handle workmen, that sort of thing. And I remember many a times going to interviews and telling them, do you want a male candidate or do you want a good candidate? You decide. If you want a good candidate, I'm here for you. If you want a male candidate, I'm sorry, I cannot change my sex. That used to be my stand. But it was difficult. Let me tell you that. Also, I was lucky to get a good job in Nicholas, and I started my career in research. I had very good colleagues, small team, but very good colleagues. So I learned a lot from my colleagues and, picked up a lot of things which you don't learn in college, in practicality. And also I was very lucky that I was working in a R&D setup where manufacturing was in the same site. So I also got to learn large scale manufacture, because that's again a skill by itself and a different
Yeah,
scientific understanding you need to develop towards it.
true.
So that was in the initial phases, a lot of convincing it to convince people that I am serious about my business. So what if I'm a woman? I will handle my personal and professional life. My professional life will not suffer. I will not ask for
Mm,
special favors. This was a big challenge because people would not accept that. Second
mm,
challenge is that once I started working and all, I in the initial few years, I always felt, even in multinational companies, let me tell you that, I always felt that as a woman, I had to prove myself much more than my male colleagues.
mm,
And I had to always try to point out that I'm doing equally good work, so I also deserve recognition. So what if I'm a woman
mm,
and I don't want to remain where I think I'm capable of a lot of things. So uh, all this was possible because I came from a very premier institute, and I over the years developed a lot of self confidence, so I was able to put these things through and
mm,
fight for what was due to me. But that was then. Today it's different. And I can assure you, I mean, every time people would say you will go on maternity leave, and I would tell people, my boss, I said, "Are you in a year, in a lifetime, maximum I will go 2 times for maternity leave, which is 6 months. At that time, it was only 3 months. So 6 months
yeah.
in a career of 30 years, why should you grudge me that for something which is a biological process? I mean,
Mm,
it's a biological process. And if I have a child, I need 3 months of leave because my child needs me more than my company. Can you
mm,
not manage for that time? I mean, it's not anything great. And today also we have 6 months maternity leave, but there's still a lot of resistance. And I know a lot of small companies which don't give 6 months leave. Okay,
mm,
which is not fair, because that is the time when your child needs you the most. So I think that resistance, it is going, but it's still there. I can still feel it. And I know young women do suffer because people get into this Instagram mode and they want to show that in 15 days I have come back to work, which is stupid according to me. I mean, you are a woman, and be a mother for 3 months or 6 months. What's wrong? There's nothing wrong in
mm,
that. I mean, I don't want to be apologetic for being a mother for 6 months of my life when my child needs me. No, I will do it. Even today, I'll do
mm,
it. Of course, I don't need, but I'm just trying to tell you that that
yeah.
is a thought process which the woman should have. We shouldn't be
Mm,
apologetic for something which is a biological process, right? And
mm,
we need that. And also, we have to realize that when the women get out of the workforce, you're losing talent. You're losing a
true.
lot of talent. So today also, if you see the statistics, I mean, in life sciences, if you look, the women who are there are 25, 23%, but at the top level, they are very few. Even if you see
Mm,
women-led entrepreneurs who get funded, it's much lower than men-led. So this
mm,
bias has to go to use the talent. That is one thing. But apart from that, I think the major challenges have been that the industry's gone through a major sea change, and you have to keep
mm,
abreast with the latest knowledge. And today we are lucky with the internet and all, we can get knowledge very easily. It's for us to filter down and understand what is critical and what is not.
yeah.
But those challenges remain, and you need to keep abreast with changes in technology. Knowledge is growing very, very fast. You cannot keep up with all of it, but in your particular field, you need to know what's happening.
Mm,
And apart
true.
from that, of course, major challenge always has been, it's not only for women, but even for men, having a balance between your professional and personal life. Very important to build that, and
Mm,
very important to strive towards that so that you have a healthy relationship. And it's only when you have a balance that you can continue for 35 years, 37 years to be accurate,
yeah,
and still want to
true.
continue for another 10 years. Unless you have that balance, you will get burnt out. So I think these are all the things which are I think, very important from a personal point of view,
Mm,
and challenges apart from your professional challenges which are there. But I think that you evolve with time. But these are
mm,
very important for you to get your fundamentals right and understand what you need to do to achieve that balance, and to have a peaceful night every day. That's important.
yeah, true, 100%, ma'am. So, ma'am, like when we are seeing in current ages where technology is coming into almost every field now, and now technology is coming into in pharma field as well. So, what future do you see by when with inclusion of modern technology, modern tools in the pharma industry?
I think that technology and the tools are going to help all the industries greatly. For example, imagine if this pandemic had happened in 1985. We wouldn't know what to do. We didn't even have telephones at home then. Let me tell
Hmm.
you that. So I mean, I cannot even imagine what sort of a disruption that would have caused to the economy and everything. So definitely, technology is a thing of the future, and we need to embrace that as much as possible. And just to tell you that last week, last week or before that, I was in, the Birak had a big 10-year expo. So being a Birak funded company, we were there with a stall, and I was there in the expo. I think there were 150 startup companies over there. And out of them, I can tell you that 75 to 80% were all med tech or health tech company, and they were all doing fantastic work and research on diagnostics, healthcare monitoring systems, and healthcare management systems, therapy, all using artificial intelligence and IoT and modern techniques. So I think that's where we are going. There's no looking back. So hopefully, with these technologies, access to healthcare will improve.
Hmm.
Please understand, even today in our village, I am from Danu, okay, which is 120 kilometers from Mumbai, not very far. And 30-40 kilometers inside of Danu, there are still Adivasi tribals who live there, and they have no access to healthcare, which is a fact.
Hmm.
And it's very close to Mumbai, but still they don't have access to basic healthcare. So I think with this technology, that access and affordability of healthcare is going to improve, and that means that overall, I think health outcomes will improve, because it's very important to measure the outcomes and not only measure what you put into it. So I think from public health perspective and all, this technology is a big. It's going to be a leveler actually.
Hmm.
Today,
True.
what is not available to the poor people, in 10 years' time, it will be available to them without spending too much. And I think the government is also doing a lot of things in this direction. So that is definitely there. Second, on the pharmaceutical technology front, I think there is so much exciting work going on. Like I told you, personalized healthcare and solutions, and immunotherapy, biotech, apart from what we continue to do with small molecules in our sort of companies. So, more and more technology is getting developed, and you have the mRNA delivery and protein delivery, and lots of things are happening. So, you're going to see a lot of current diseases which don't have treatment. You will see treatment options coming up. Recently, I think there was published immunotherapy on a 12 or 14 member cancer study. I don't remember the details now, but they were able to show that the tumor disappeared in all the 14 patients.
Yeah.
The first of a type of data which I read just 2-3 weeks ago. I think that's fantastic. This is immunotherapy, and it is. I mean, it's okay. It's worked for a specific type of cancer. So now what happens is that each type of cancer gets broken down into different subtypes, and you can have specific treatment for each subtype. And
Hmm.
that is what is the improvement in technology is going to give you. So it is going to give you more definite positive outcomes and treatments. And so I think that it's going to be great. And I also know that there are some companies in India who are starting up on this personalized healthcare, and they've already started. Only problem with all these new technologies is if they are too expensive and they are not available for our sort of population, then Indian scientists and Indian companies have to set it up so that it's available for the Indian population and maybe for the other underdeveloped world. So I think it's a big sort of opportunity for the Indian scientific community to look at these and build these, because that's really where we are quite good at that. I mean, see how we develop the
Yeah, for
vaccines.
sure.
I mean, it's exemplary,
For
and I
sure.
think we can do
Yeah.
it. We have the capability, and if we get the right support from the government and from the investors, I am sure there are young scientists out there who are brimming with these ideas and who will
Yeah.
give these solutions. So it's exciting times. I wish I was 20 years old again. Exciting times for the next 15-20 years. So I think we are going to get solutions to a lot of problems. Only question is, how do we make it accessible and affordable for our population, is what as Indian scientists we have to think.
True,
That's,
man. True.
yeah.
So, ma'am, how was this podcast for you? And what final advices would you like to give?
I think I always like to talk, and I like to talk to youngsters a lot. So I'm happy to talk to you and share my experiences. My basic thought process is that think through what you want to do, think very clearly, build long-term relationships. Short-term doesn't work.
Hmm. True.
Try to balance between your personal and professional life. And whatever you do, be fair to everybody around you. Be respect everybody, and be kind. It doesn't take more to be kind, but if you can impact somebody's life and help build it, you should do it. Every
Yeah.
one of us should do it. And we have people all around us. We have, I mean, I have my maids and drivers who work for me, and I always try to do, I always think, what can I more can I do for them, you know.
Hmm.
And I always think that if we just think a little bit, there are many things which we can do. So
True.
I think we should keep on thinking in this direction and seeing what we can do for everybody around us. I'm sure we can do that. But whatever we do, my one principle is that do it the right way, do it ethically. Don't try to do short-term things. It's a longer route, but it's a more sustainable route. And at the end of the day, it is satisfying. And if you're happy with what you're doing, then it becomes enjoyable also.
Hmm.
So we need to work in that direction, that we enjoy what we do. So we want to continue doing it even when age catches up. Till we are physically fit, we want to do it. And you need to
True.
build a career in that way, is what is my advice to young people. Yeah.
True, 100%. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming on this show, giving us knowledge and awareness on Alzheimer's, malaria, and the friction problem with skin, and for sharing your wisdom with your more than 35 years of experience. Thank you so much for coming on the show, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Jay. And I also learn every time I talk to someone. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. And looking forward to talk to you again sometime later. Thank you
Sure,
so
ma'am.
much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much.